Necromancy, the ancient art of communicating with the dead, a practice shrouded in mystery and fear. But what is it really? In the shadows of human history lurks necromancy, a term that conjures images of dark rites and whispered incantations, of spirits rising from their graves and secrets being torn from the silent grip of the departed. But to truly understand necromancy, we must go back to its roots, to the words that gave it life. Necromancy is born from the Greek words nekros, meaning dead, and manteia, meaning divination. Together they form the basis of a practice that has fascinated, repulsed, and terrified humanity for millennia. Necromancy, in essence, is the art of divining the future by invoking the spirits of the dead. But why would anyone wish to commune with the departed? What could the dead possibly offer the living? The answer lies in the perceived wisdom of those who have crossed the veil. To the ancients, death was not an end, but a transition to a different plane of existence. They believed that those who had passed on held knowledge and insights beyond the reach of the living. Imagine, if you will, a world filled with uncertainty, a world where the reasons behind a good harvest or a sudden illness were as mysterious as the stars in the night sky. In such a world, the promise of knowledge from beyond the grave could be an irresistible lure, a beacon of hope, or a source of dread. Necromancy, then, was more than a mere curiosity. It was a tool, a window into the unknown, a way to seek guidance and glean wisdom from those who had walked the earth before us. But as with any tool, it could be used for good or ill. Its power hinged on the intent of the wielder and the spirits they sought to commune with. It's these dual facets of necromancy, its potential for knowledge and its capacity for deception, that have made it such a compelling element of human history. So brace yourself as we delve into the dark and enigmatic realm of necromancy. Necromancy's story begins in the ancient world, where it was revered and feared in equal measure. This mystifying art, a blend of ritual and reverence, was a cornerstone of many ancient cultures. But it was in the civilizations of Egypt, Greece, and Rome where necromancy truly took root. In the land of the pharaohs, the Egyptians believed in life after death. They revered their deceased, mummifying bodies and crafting elaborate tombs. Their necromancy was a way to bridge the gap between the living and the dead, to gain wisdom and guidance. Priests and priestesses would conduct rituals, calling upon the spirits of the departed, seeking their insights and blessings. Over in ancient Greece, necromancy was woven into the fabric of their mythology. The famous Greek hero, Odysseus himself, was said to have practiced necromancy. In the epic Odyssey, he journeyed to the edge of Hades, the realm of the dead. Here he summoned and conversed with the spirit of the prophet Tiresias, seeking advice to help him return home. This tale became one of the most iconic instances of necromancy in ancient times, illustrating its significance in Greek culture. Meanwhile, in ancient Rome, necromancy was a practice both respected and feared. The Romans believed that the spirits of the dead could offer guidance, but also bring misfortune if not properly appeased. Necromancers were often consulted before major decisions or battles, their rituals seen as a means to gain favor from the spirits and secure victory. Yet, as much as necromancy was revered in these ancient civilizations, it was also viewed with trepidation. The power to commune with the dead was seen as something both sacred and terrifying, a power that could be a blessing or a curse. But despite this fear, necromancy continued to thrive, its practices passed down through generations. The ancients revered necromancy, but as time passed, perceptions began to change. As we journey further into history, we'll see how this ancient art evolved and how it came to be viewed in the Middle Ages and beyond. Fast forward to the Middle Ages, and necromancy takes on a more sinister reputation. During this period, the art of communing with the dead became entangled with demonology, the study and summoning of demons. This was a time rife with superstition and fear, and the Church, with its growing influence, was quick to condemn practices it deemed heretical. Necromancy, with its rituals and incantations, was seen as a direct affront to the Church's teachings. The Church's stance was clear. Necromancy was not just sinful, it was a form of devil worship. This was a time when the line between religion and magic was blurred, and the Church was determined to stamp out any practices that could challenge its authority. In the church's eyes, necromancers were not just misguided individuals, but dangerous heretics. They were believed to be in league with the devil, using dark magic to raise the dead and communicate with spirits. The punishment for those caught practicing necromancy was severe. Accused necromancers were often subjected to trials by ordeal, a brutal form of medieval justice. If found guilty, they faced the harshest of penalties, including excommunication, imprisonment, and even death. Yet despite the church's condemnation and the threat of punishment, the practice of necromancy persisted. Necromancers, driven underground, continued their forbidden arts in secret. The fascination with the unknown, the desire to reach beyond the veil of death, proved too powerful to be extinguished by fear and persecution. As the Middle Ages gave way to the Renaissance, the dark art of necromancy would undergo yet another transformation. But that's a tale for another time. For now, let's remember the Middle Ages as a time when necromancy was driven into the shadows, a forbidden practice associated with demons and devilry, yet still clung to by those brave or foolhardy enough to defy the church. With the church's condemnation, necromancy was driven into the shadows, but it was far from forgotten. As the world stepped into the Renaissance, necromancy found a new home in the world of the occult. The Renaissance, a period of intellectual and cultural rebirth, was also a time when the art of necromancy experienced a transformation. In contrast to the Middle Ages, when necromancy was mostly feared and condemned, the Renaissance was a time when scholars, philosophers, and even some religious figures began to delve into the mysteries of the occult, including necromancy. This was largely due to the revival of interest in ancient Greek and Roman texts, many of which contained references to necromantic practices. But what truly set the Renaissance apart was the emergence of figures who were willing to delve into these forbidden arts, not out of a desire for power or wealth, but out of an insatiable curiosity about the nature of the universe. One such figure was John Dee, an esteemed mathematician, astrologer, and occult philosopher in the court of Queen Elizabeth I of England. John Dee was a man of science and reason, yet he was also a firm believer in the existence of spiritual realms. He reportedly practiced necromancy, seeking to communicate with the spirits of the deceased to gain insights into the mysteries of the cosmos. His practices, while controversial, were part of a broader trend of intellectual exploration and boundary pushing that defined the Renaissance. But it wasn't just figures like Dee who were fascinated by necromancy. The art found its way into the works of playwrights and poets who used it as a metaphor for the human condition, our fears, and our desires. It was a tool to explore the depths of the human psyche, the boundaries of knowledge, and the tantalizing allure of the forbidden. This period of history was a turning point for necromancy, transforming it from a feared and forbidden practice into a symbol of intellectual curiosity and the unquenchable human desire to understand the unknown. Necromancy's journey through the ages is a testament to the human fascination with life, death, and the unknown. As we continue to explore its history, we're reminded of our own mortality, our fears, our hopes, and our unending quest for understanding. Today, necromancy's reputation remains shrouded in darkness and fear, but its influence is undeniable. While the term necromancy might conjure images of hooded figures, ancient spells, and eerie graveyards, its echoes can be found in modern practices like spiritualism and mediumship. These practices, much like necromancy, involve communication with the spirits of the dead. Mediumship, for instance, is a practice where a person known as a medium communicates with spirits on behalf of the living. This is not a far cry from the necromancers of old who would also act as intermediaries between the living and the deceased. Spiritualism, which emerged in the 19th century, similarly posits that spirits of the dead can and do interact with the living. But necromancy's influence extends beyond these practices. It has entrenched itself in popular culture, making its way into the pages of books, the frames of films, and the pixels of video games. In the realm of literature, one cannot ignore the iconic figure of Voldemort from the Harry Potter series, a dark wizard who uses necromancy to sustain his life. In the world of cinema, necromancy is often associated with horror and suspense, adding a chilling layer to the narrative. Video games too have embraced necromancy. It's common to encounter necromancer characters in role-playing games, where players can summon and control the undead. This representation reflects the age-old fascination with controlling the forces of life and death, a theme central to necromancy. Yet, despite its prevalence in popular culture, necromancy is often misunderstood. It's seen as a sinister practice associated with evil and darkness. But at its core, necromancy is about communication, about reaching across the veil of death to seek knowledge and understanding. This desire to understand and connect, to seek answers from those who have passed on, is a deeply human instinct. In a world increasingly driven by science and reason, necromancy continues to thrive in the realm of the mysterious and the unexplained. It serves as a reminder of our fascination with the unknown, our quest for knowledge, and our enduring desire to connect with those who have left us behind. As we reflect on the journey of necromancy, it's clear that our perception of it is as much about us as it is about the practice itself. Over time, our understanding of necromancy has undergone significant transformations. From its origins in ancient civilizations, where it was revered and respected, to the Middle Ages, where it was feared and shunned, and finally to the modern era, where it is often met with skepticism and disbelief. Necromancy has been a constant presence in our collective consciousness. This evolution reflects not just changes in the practice itself, but also our evolving attitudes towards death and the afterlife. Ancient societies saw death not as an end, but as a transition, a belief that was reflected in their embrace of necromancy. The Middle Ages, on the other hand, were characterized by fear and uncertainty about death, and necromancy was viewed with trepidation. The Renaissance marked a shift towards a more scientific understanding of the world, and necromancy was often dismissed as superstition. Yet it also saw a renewed interest in the occult, with necromancy at the forefront. This fascination lingered into the modern era, even as skepticism and rationality became the prevailing attitudes. Throughout these changes, one thing remains constant: our desire for knowledge and understanding. Whether we view necromancy with reverence, fear, fascination, or skepticism, it is ultimately a testament to our relentless quest to understand the world around us and the mysteries beyond our comprehension. Necromancy, then, is more than just a practice. It is a mirror reflecting our deepest fears and desires, our changing attitudes towards death and the afterlife, and our enduring quest for knowledge. It is a reminder that even as we advance and evolve, our fascination with the unknown remains a fundamental part of our human nature. From ancient reverence to medieval fear, from occult fascination to modern skepticism, necromancy remains a mirror to our deepest fears and desires, a testament to the human quest for knowledge and understanding.